Hey, Queens, welcome back. So, did you ever find yourself going back with your ex? Did you ever find yourself wanting to go back with your ex? Did you ever find yourself in patterns of relationships? Did you ever find yourself over and over and over bumping into the same type of situation? Or let's put it this way. Are you always dating guys that are bad, guys that are awful? Why are guys so awful? Did you ever feel like that? Okay, if that has been you, then you have to continue watching. So, why are what is it? Toxic relationships so addictive? Well, there's three main reasons. The number one reason is that obviously, if kind of like who would stay in a stupid or toxic relationship? Who in the right mind would do that, right? Well, that's just it, that you're not in your right mind. You are intoxicated by hormones. You are under the influence of hormones. Yeah, so like when you have intimacy with a guy, and intimacy means you got really close, like you were close, like not friends, but you spent a lot of time with him, he got to know you, and all of that. And or you had sex with him. So that starts the process of pair bonding. And if you watch my channel, you would know what that is by now. But what it is pretty much all species have that effect of bonding, or, you know, what's another word for bonding? Attaching to someone. So you start attaching to a man chemically, physically, when you are intimate with. You release oxytocin, vasopressin, all of that stuff. And you can't really notice this. The way you will notice this is when you sort of get really excited when you think about them, and when you see them, your heart starts racing. When you feel that for, butterflies, when you feel that for someone, that is literally it. That's a dopamine hit, all of that. So when that happened, you can no longer think straight. And even if this relationship is bad for you, you missed all the red flags. In this channel, we talk about this like there's no tomorrow, right? So that's a very easy one, like a very obvious one, because it happens just all the time. The second one is, how did you grow up? What kind of examples did you have growing up of healthy relationships? If you come from divorced parents or a household where there was any type of violence, if you were abused as a child in any way, shape, or form, especially by a parent where they made you work for love, or they didn't, they didn't make you feel like you were worthier of love, or just anything like that, where you grew up with that dysfunctional idea of love, this dysfunctional example of relationships, this is all you know. So if we talk quickly about the Khloe Kardashian example, I mean, her entire family is like that, right? But her is a very public and notorious example. So she didn't have a role model of a mother who modeled, healthy relationships with men. Number one. So she comes from a home of split parents, right? So growing up with that example and what the mother tells her, right? Oh, keep forgiving the guy, keep going back to him, right? With the whole excuse of like the co-parenting and all that stuff, which, I mean, do you think for a minute that children are stupid? Are you are you okay with your daughter growing up seeing a mother with no dignity? You can have all the millions of dollars you want, but it's not going to buy you dignity. The dignity of not putting up with disrespect, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's the daddy of my kid. I don't give a fuck who it is. You get it? So you putting up with disrespect because you grew up with dysfunctional parents. Now add to the mix that you pair bonded with this bitch that is not even your husband. I mean, you're not helping yourself. Look at Khloe. Imagine how strong this is that you're willing to ridicule yourself in public. When you're a public figure, the more you want to be even conscious of your own life, because that's what people are doing or seeing, and your kids and all of that. So that's a number two, like having grown up with a dysfunctional, home or mother or father example. And then number three, so if you're familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, we are all addicted to something, to a particular emotion. Like emotions are addictive. Okay, so it can be any emotion. It can be suffering. It can be, what is it? It can be freaking anything. You can also make yourself addicted to peace and calm. You see, I can relate to that one. Back in the day, I used to be addicted to being overwhelmed, right? Just always overwhelmed by anything since I can remember. And then one day when I was, in that journey of healing my own feminine energy, it was part of that, right? Like no more overwhelm. And I had to rewire myself to not only be okay, because at first, the feeling of calm and peace was totally unfamiliar territory for me, right? Just from growing up and all that stuff. It was always like hectic, right? So hectic, it can actually be like not only traumatizing, but you'll become addicted to that, right? So first you have to get being okay with feeling in a different way, and then rewiring yourself to only wanting that state. So eventually you know, I only got used to being in peace and quiet, and overwhelm was a thing of the past. But wiring can be deep. It can run deep, because I know that if I kind of let my guard down sometimes, on occasion, I'll kind of snap to the overwhelm for a minute or two, and catch myself and be like, yeah, no. Right. So anyway, there's that. So, I've had clients whom who were in relationships, well, actual relationships, like, like a marriage where um fighting all the time, just addicted to the feeling of being adrenaline and just drama, addicted to drama. So a lot of times you'll see that if you are in a relationship that is toxic, it won't be your only toxic relationship. You'll start to look around other relationships in your life and they'll be the same, with friends, with family, with so on and so forth. You'll see that it's not the only toxic relationship you have. So it's kind of like a way of being to you, whatever that state is, right? So the good news is that you have the opportunity to decide that you don't want to be in that. It's all about deciding and saying no more. And just saying, no more, and then start to rewire yourself to be okay with peace and calm, peace and quiet. And what's funny, like this one client, I kept kind of, the stuff that I kept teaching her was about how to be in a peaceful relationship, how to, I'll tell you, I'm laughing, how to, like be in a happy relationship. And this was back in the day when I was like a beginner coach. And she wasn't responding well, like it wasn't getting anywhere. And then one day she told me like, oh, I want to fight. I want to fight because Trump says that if you don't fight back, you are a doormat and you should always seek revenge. She's like, no, I want to fight. So this is her lifestyle where everything's fighting and drama and problems with people. And I was like, whoa, wait, I guess I never, when did she ever tell me she wanted to be happy? When did she ever tell me she wanted peace and quiet and peace and love? I was like, oh shit, how the fuck did we end up here? And that was me being a total, no, like unexperienced coach many, many, many years ago, right? So what do you want? Do you want toxic relationships? Do you like the adrenaline of it? This person I'm talking about, she loves the adrenaline of it. The excitement of fighting gives her a rush. So what do you look for? What do you want consciously? So the good news is that you can change that, right? So if you ever think of going back with an ex, there's a reason why it didn't work out. He's not that into you. There's a reason why it's time to move on. And yeah, if you want something, healthy, that is, because maybe you don't want that. It's possible, like it was happening with my client like a century ago. She never told me she wanted to be happy. She wanted revenge all along. I was like, oh shit, no. There's plenty of people for that, but no, I wasn't into that. So anyway, that's the reason why toxic relationships are so addictive. So think twice when you want to go back with that ex, okay? So that's it for now, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.